For everybody watching later, I won't wait for a few people to get in here before I talk about this because this wasn't. I never even thought about this. Like I really don't watch the news. I knew this had happened, but I hadn't dug into it at all. The Amir Locke, I think you pronounce it Loke. That's how you pronounce his last name. I could be completely wrong about that though. Or Loki, Locke. I don't know. Locke. Maybe it's just Locke. Hell, who knows? Uh, I didn't put too much thought in it, but I was yesterday. We went to see Jonathan Cohn up in Kentucky. About 2.5 hour drive each way. For some reason, it was a long 2.5 hours. But this was the Kill the Texans, the one that brought this to my attention. At least when it has to do with this specific case. And I think that he's absolutely right. So, so Amir Locke was the kid that was on the couch. Cops, get a key from the manager of the apartment complex, which they can't do that. That's fucking 100%, 1,000% illegal for a manager to open a door, even when the police have a warrant. Like that's because you're under contract with that place, and if a manager is going to enter your home or unlock your door, they have to give notice. They have to. So let's start at the beginning. So cops are looking for somebody. For those of you that don't know, warrants are rubber stamped. What does that mean? There doesn't have to be any probable cause, and I would venture to say that the vast majority of the time, judges don't even read the what's it called? The brain fart. Fuck. Whatever they call it, the paper the cops fill out in a work. I forget what it's called. Start with the B, I think. I don't know what still brain fart. It's been a long morning already. Only been an hour and a half. But they rubber stamp these warrants. Like there doesn't even have to be any probable cause. Like example, when I was arrested in 2013 over the golf ball incident, the initial search warrant, which the whole case hinged on. The only thing in the it's called an affidavit, but it's called a specific kind of affidavit. The only thing in the affidavit for the warrant that was verified by the police, admitted by the police, and the judge rubber stamped it. The judge rubber stamped it. What are you checking here? Don't. Hold on. What are you saying? Hold on, time out. What? Don't. You don't hear nothing. Okay, you don't hear nothing. Give me a minute. Hold on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I think. Hold on. Yes, you can't hear me now. Let's see. Now you should be able to hear me. Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me. My bad. I guess I turned my mic volume down so I don't know. Anyway, so warrants are rubber stamped now. The affidavit for the search warrant in 2013 when I was arrested over the golf balls, the only things the cops verified, so the only thing that they knew as fact in those search warrant, in the initial search warrant, which was what the whole case hinged on, was that I lived at a specific place, I drove a specific car, and I had a YouTube account. It was all public information. Anybody could have fucking found that out. It wasn't like, you know, we, I don't know. It wasn't like it was some shit that I was trying to hide. I was fucking open. Like, there was nothing to hide. There was nothing illegal about what I was doing. The problem is they didn't know where all these golf balls were coming from, and they never asked. I never told them. They never asked. But I wasn't going to tell them either because it was all bullshit. It was, based on some, crackhead that they paid like $2,500 to tell on me. People that crackheads are going to make up shit when you give them money and say, tell. It's just like, what happened over in Iraq when they were fucking paying all the Iraqis to be their own security and to turn in IEDs and shit. When people would get shot or whatever at checkpoints, the Iraqis would tell the U.S. that it was an accident because they didn't want the U.S. to think that they couldn't do the job and stop paying them these fucking enormous amounts of money. It's the same thing. But anyway, so the rubber stamp now. So you have these cops that file an affidavit for a search warrant and go to the court. The Kilton Texan is the one that brought this to my attention. Not about the warrants, I already knew all this shit, but about the Amir Locke case. And I'll get to that in a second. But go sit in court, your local court, and sit there all day. And you will see cops walk in, hand the judge a piece of paper, and within fucking minutes, without asking any questions, in the middle of court, the judge will sign it and they walk out with a search warrant. They walk over to the clerk's office, the clerk files it, and then they go kicking doors. So in the Amir Locke case, they hit multiple addresses at the same time with no-knock warrants. At the place where they killed that kid on the couch, Amir Locke, the cops went to the manager. The manager opened the door. Now, the manager can, I don't know how that would go with the warrant. I guess it depends on your lease. I have never read in one of my leases where they say that they will open the cops for the door even if there's a warrant. As far as I know, they're supposed to give you 24-hour notice. But anyway, and I just might as well say, well, they have a warrant so they can do it. Yeah, I get it. But if you're under contract with a apartment complex, if they break that contract, they're still liable for breaking the contract. So anyway, at the same time, and this is common, this happens all the fucking time, they will get search warrants for multiple houses. So let's say Freedom Inc. is wanted for drug trafficking. And they know I'm at this house on Mondays and Wednesdays. They know I'm at this house on Tuesdays and Fridays. And they know I'm at this house on Saturdays. But then they're out there watching, and they see I switch it up. So they'll get a warrant to kick all those doors in just to see, to try to catch me so I don't get a heads up when they kick the first door. They'll do it all at the same time. It's coordinated. So they get a key from the manager. The manager, they open the door. They run in. It's 9 seconds. 9 seconds from the time the door opens until the dude is on his way to dying because he's got a bunch of extra holes in him. Now, BLM, how do they tie into this? Well, you haven't heard nothing about it. You haven't heard nothing about it from BLM. Why? I'll tell you why. Because those bitches have already made their money. And the Kilton Texan said this too. They're up in Canada living in their multi-million-dollar. There's no need for them to, pay people to go burn shit to the ground. They have made their money. For socialist Marxists, or for Marxists, they like capitalism a lot. And it's both of them. And the first one started buying all the properties and bailed out of BLM. And now the second one did the same thing. The second, the two bitches that fucking, organized BLM in the beginning. But anyway, so they kick it. They go to this apartment, dude, 9 seconds screaming. Like, you wake me up screaming, and if I had a gun on me, some bad shit's going to happen. Especially in 9 seconds. I know that there's cases out there which I haven't looked up to find it, but I know there's cases out there where people in a certain time frame, they actually consider it to be, fuck, I forget what they call it, but it's basically like an insanity. Like you're insane because you're not in your right mind because you just woke up. So anyway, they're screaming at the dude. 9 seconds, they open the door. They're screaming at the dude, get up, fucking put your hands in the air. They got, they got flat, and they got their bright ass fucking pistol lights and rifle lights in his face. He doesn't point the gun at them. He wakes up, he has a gun on him. They right? I got to protect you. Why? Tell you why. Because they have never heard about it. Those cops murdered that dude, and nothing will happen to them. Qualified immunity. They did it. Acting in their duties, or however qualified immunity is worded, and nobody's going to give a fuck. There's going to be a lot of money and a lot of lawsuits over this case, but you're never going to hear about it. BLM's never going to be there to burn shit to the ground. Like if there was deserve to get burned to the ground by BLM, it was they're not going to do anything about it. You're not going to hear anything about it, and nobody's really going to give a shit because again, it didn't happen to their kid, or it happened to them, or their cousin, or whatever. I mean, could you imagine going to state your town and you fall asleep on the couch? I don't know. My wife's saying y'all can't hear me. Oh no. Can you hear me now? It's because of StreamYard. That's why you guys can't hear me. I'll see if you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? Yeah, you can hear me now. What part? What part of the story? What part of the story? Okay. So, I hope you guys can hear me now. It's StreamYard, man. StreamYard is awesome. It's because of the way. What? Okay. They come in. They enter the door in 9 seconds from the time they open the door until this dude is getting bullets in him. And you have to think about what's going on in those 9 seconds. There's video of it out there. You can go watch it. They got their pistol lights on, their rifle lights on. They're shot at the dude's face. Get your hands in the air. He wakes up. He doesn't point a gun at them. He has a gun on him, and they fucking kill the dude. You're never going to hear about it in the mainstream media. You're not going to hear about it from BLM. You're not going to hear about it from BLM because those bitches made the money. BLM's over with. It's done. As a mass movement, it's over. They're no longer paying people to go burn shit to the ground or to show up and riot. So you're not going to see any more of that shit. But what you will see is a bunch of lawsuits flying. There's going to be a lot of money paid out to this family, and it doesn't bring the dude back. All the money in the world is not going to bring him back. But what they'll do is they will pay the family to shut them up, to try to keep them quiet. The mainstream media is not going to say anything about it because the dude didn't have a record. So it's not like, they actually stated, the police stated that if he would have lived, he would have been charged for like felonious assault on a cop or some shit. So what does that say? What does all this say? And that's the point I'm getting to. It says that you no longer have a right to defend your home from anybody who shouldn't be there, whether it be a criminal, a cop, whatever. Because you have to wake up, you have to be in your right mind, which you should be anyway. You know what I mean? Like you need to identify your target. Know what's behind your target. You need to follow the rules of firearm safety. I get it, but who's to say that somebody doesn't dress up like a cop and enter your home middle of the night, screaming at you, get up, and to listen. And don't tell me it doesn't fucking happen. And Christy can testify to this. I had somebody at one time who for months, fucking months, and it wasn't a snitch, it wasn't an informant, it wasn't none of that shit. Like this dude, like I trust him with my kids. was wanting me to do some shit like that. He wanted me because I had a white F 150, and it was identical to what the Vortex unit was using in Cincinnati, the drug task force in Cincinnati at the time. And we were going to dress the truck up, put lights in the grill, put a light on the dash, get all the goon squad costume, and he was wanting me to go with him to rob this other dope boy that had robbed him previously. That was what it was all about. It was about getting him back. It wasn't even about the money or the drugs. Dude had enough money and dope. It was about proving a point is what it was about. He wanted to pull him over on a side street, get him out of the car, cuff him up, throw him back into the car, drive off, take whatever they had, leave him out in the middle of nowhere, and whatever happened to him happened. It wasn't wanting to kill him or nothing. It was just to prove a point is what it was all really about. So don't say it doesn't fucking happen, that people don't dress up as cops and kick in doors and shit, because it does happen. There's somebody plotting it right now today in this country. But it's bullshit. And it all really what it stems back to is this rubber stamp, the rubber stamp execution of government rule. That's what it is. And that's what they do. The excuse is that, well, we should be able to trust these cops. You can't trust them motherfuckers, man. Because like I said, in my case, the whole case hinged on the very first search warrant. And the very first search warrant was a GPS monitor for my car. They took a GPS, they stuck it under my car, and it was for 30 days. So they could have sat back for 30 days and watched what I was doing, but they didn't. I think it was on there for 6 days in total. And come to find out in the end, what had happened is that they didn't see me doing anything that you could consider to be illegal. And the chief of police in Sharonville told Detective Boyd, if you don't make an arrest, you got 24 hours and it's over. We're done. Sorry about that. I had a notification. So they kicked in the door, or they pulled me over and then kicked in the door where Christy was at and arrested her, but they arrested me on the interstate because they thought there was going to be some major shootout because the snitch told them that, I drive around with AR-15s in the car ready to go to war with the cops. Fucking, you would think that, but they don't care. And the cops don't care. It's not about what you did wrong. I've said it before, it's not about if you've done anything wrong or anything. It's not, or even broke their rules. It's tunnel vision, man. It's power. It's a power trip. It's you're a peasant. I have the power, and fuck you. And here's why they really don't care, because once they arrest you and they walk away, they don't give a fuck what happens to you. All they know is now they get some overtime for going to court and sitting there to testify. I would hate to know the amount of overtime that Jason Boyd from Sharonsville PD got paid on my case. He was at court once a month for fucking goddamn nearly 4 years. I was arrested in March 2013. I went to prison in August of 2016 on the same case. I pled guilty. And the only reason I pled guilty was because they arrested Christy. I had no option. It's easier for me to go do time than it is to risk my kid's mom having to go and do time. And that's how they get you. Like, there was no doubt in my mind, and Kirsty will tell you, I have no doubt in my mind that I would beat that case at trial. We was going all the way with it until the last minute. We were literally there to pick a jury, and they started throwing these, one of my deals was like 15 years or some shit at one time. I think my first deal was 15. No, my first deal, they offered me probation, $1 million in restitution, and something else, 5 years over my head or some shit like that. And I told him to kick rocks. I'm like, yeah, trick no good, motherfucker. I just had my first rodeo, $1 million in restitution. Yeah, okay, but just go ahead and give me the time, because I ain't paying you $1 million in restitution. And then once you sign that paperwork, then your probation gets to dictate how much you have to pay, how often you got to pay, and then if you don't pay, they send you up. My second deal was 15 years, I think. They offered me like 2 or 3 deals. And then they start wanting to play hardball with you, like the prosecutor come over. When they offered me the first deal, I was sitting in the courtroom, right? So imagine a big city courtroom filled full of people. And my lawyer comes, this public defender comes over, and I want a long story, but I didn't use him, but comes over, he's like, hey man, we got it worked out. I'm like, what the fuck you mean we got it worked out? He said, here's the deal. They're going to give you probation. I'm like, really? He said, yeah. I said, and the terms of it are what? He said, it was either 5 or 10 years over my head. So meaning if I fucked up, I had to go do the 5 or 10 years in prison. $1 million restitution, and you forfeit all your property. And Christy was there. Ask her. I said, do I look fucking high to you? Like I said it out loud like that in court, and the judge looks over at me and shit. I was like, you got me fucked up, man. I ain't taking that shit. So anyway, in my arraignment, when they was talking about the confidential informant, I was like, confidential informant? I'm at my goddamn arraignment. I haven't even got a discovery packet. How the hell am I supposed to know I have a confidential informant? He ain't very fucking confidential if I already know about him. God, they hated me. And then I kind of paid for it in the end because my judge retired, and he was a prick. And just like that. So we watched 16 hours of video during a 2-day period during my case. And that's in those 16 hours of video, all of which was me and another guy, one person, in all these Walmarts and Meijer stores. Now, when you hear that, it sounds bad. Like, why the fuck are you in all these Walmarts and Meijers where they can get 16 hours of video footage of you in a 6-day period or whatever it was? You have to think we were going to multiple stores every single night. So we were hitting some nights 10, 20 stores. Every night was at least 10. Some nights it was 20, just depending on what city we went to and how fast we could get done, what we were going to get done. But you hear that and it sounds terrible, right? Now, the truth of the story. Sandy Hook happened. Ammo went through the roof. Doubled in price overnight. Nick, me, figured out a way to get all the ammo for Walmart and Meijers. When it would come in that door, I would get a phone call. We would head to that city because when they deliver shit like that on the Walmart trucks, they hit all the like if a truck goes to, like for ammo, as an example, they don't put ammo on all the trucks. Like when ammo is delivered, it's delivered to, they'll hit, there's a few items they do this with. It's not just ammo. But they like, let's just say Cincinnati. I think there's 13 Walmarts and Meijers in Cincinnati, or at least there was as of 2013. There's more than that. 23. There's 23. But they will deliver that product to those stores all in the same night. So I'd go to Toledo, on second shift, right before third shift starts. I go in sporting goods. I'd be like, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I want. When it comes at the door, or you see it, you call me. Here's $100, and I'd write my number on the $100 bill. And when you call me, I will give you another 100 when I get here. Who's not going to make a phone call for $200? Yeah, I lost a couple $100 bills. You know what I mean? But when you hit all the Walmarts in one city, and out of 15 Walmarts, you hand out $600, $700, $800, you're going to get a phone call. And then you go in there, and this was when they started the 3-box bullshit in Walmart, when you could only buy 3 boxes of ammo. I truly believe a lot of shit you see in stores today is because of me, is because of my case, because of what they believe was happening. The detective got on the stand in the slide and said that, I was the leader of a multi-million-dollar theft ring. They handed me a fucking, in my discovery packet, I had a list for Meijer stores in Southwest Ohio of their property that they said we stole. It was everything from baby diapers to tampons to all kinds of shit. But what really happened was they looked and see what was missing from the store, and they just accredited it to me, which definitely wasn't true. I'm not going to say that I never did anything wrong, because I did. 100% I did. I wasn't doing what they said I was doing. I wasn't in Walmarts and Meijers stealing thousands of dozens of golf balls every single night. Like legit, the story is that Freedom Inc. and one other person goes to all these stores in the city. This is the story they put together in their head because of the snitch. And we are stealing thousands of dozens of golf balls a night, wearing Carhartt coats, putting the golf balls in the Carhartt coats. Like, it made no sense. So anyway, we watched the videos, and you don't see us doing anything in them. Nothing. Anytime that we pick anything up, we go through the register and pay for it. So my judge that was getting ready to retire, we filed a motion to suppress. That's what's, when you want to get rid of evidence in the case, that's what you do. You file a motion to suppress, you go there, you argue your point to the court. Hey, judge, this evidence is illegal. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It was collected the wrong way. It needs to be thrown out for due process purposes. My judge was retiring. And even though it was clear as day, because if they would have thrown out the video evidence, the real purpose of that was to get them to throw out the initial warrant, because the initial warrant and the evidentiary value of that warrant, meaning what they got from executing that warrant, led to 6 other search warrants. So if we could get the first one thrown out, they have to dismiss the case, because then there's no evidence. All the evidence has been thrown out by the judge. But because he was retiring, he denied my motion to suppress. And what can you do about it? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. You can go to trial, and then if you lose, you can appeal it. But and I already knew this before my lawyer told me. But he's like, Nick, you go to trial, man. Like, we can. He told me, he's like, and you'll never hear a lawyer tell you that they can do something for you. Like, they can guarantee it, right? They'll never guarantee anything. Brian, my attorney, talks to me a little different because we know each other, I guess. But he's like, look, you're going to beat this all day on appeal. There's no doubt about it. They can't deny it on appeal. You got fucked. But how long are you willing to sit up there before, your appeal goes through? I was facing like 50 years or some shit. Like, legit, I was facing the rest of my life in prison over golf balls. How long are you willing to sit up there before your appeal goes through? If you get 20, you're probably looking at 8 or 10 years before your appeal goes through. You want to go do 8 when you could do this time, because they offered me the last deal they offered me was 2 years. They keep all the shit and like some crazy amount of restitution. And I'm like, well, what about Christy? That's what was my real concern, was Christy. What about, how do we get Christy out of this? Because they're fucking her. Because we have kids, number one. Number two, because I'm an old man. And it's easier for me to do time than it is for Christy to do time. Like, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't enjoy going to prison or going to jail or that shit. But I can do it. I could do it. I have no intentions on doing it from here on out. But what I'm trying to get at, it was easier for me to go than it was for her. So, then that was as I was walking into for jury selection. They offered me that deal. I'm like, well, what happened? What about Christy? And they're like, yeah, fucking, she's going to plea out to a misdemeanor or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. Ain't happening. I said, how about this? Go back in there and tell them I'll do 18 months, because I already had 13 months in on it, because I beat the confidential informant fell through the window. I threw him through the window. Not really. I didn't mean to throw him through the window, but that's kind of what happened. He got his ass whooped and he fell through the window. What really happened? I actually went through the window with him. But anyway, so I'm like, hey, go tell them I'll do 18 months. I want all my money, all my property back. And I want all Chris's shit to go away like it never happened. And they're like, he goes in there and talks to him. He's like, they're not going to do that. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Go tell them. I'm not doing 2. I'm not doing it to go to prison for another, 11 months or whatever it was. Yeah, 11 months, I think is what it was. I don't know, but it don't matter. So they come back with another deal. And they're like, 21 months, you get your money and your property back, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And Christy is going to have this, everything we get dropped, it'd be like it never happened. Like, fuck, where do I sign it? Christy didn't want me to take the deal. Christy wanted to go to trial. But like most, and I'm not saying Christy doesn't know, but at the time, I don't think she understood the possible consequences. Because of the way they charged her in front of 12 stupid people, she was going to prison. And it just wasn't worth it to me. It just wasn't. I'll go do this little pity last 9 months, take care of the kids, and I'll see you when I get out, or or come visit me or whatever. She came to visit me. Anyway, I'm sorry to go off of that fucking long long thing. But the point being is none of that shit would have happened if the judges didn't rubber stamp the warrants, if the cops didn't lie to get the warrants, if our system wasn't the way it was. There's no fixing the system. It's fucked. It's completely corrupt, top to bottom. They all work together. They all know it's corrupt. That's why you don't have DAs charging cops when they kick in doors and shoot people who not only didn't point a gun at them, but had no record, had no, there's no inkling that this person had ever done anything violent in his life. And now he's dead, and nothing's going to bring him back. No amount of money that they extort from you, because that's what happens. If they, you want to change our system, eliminate qualified immunity, and make cops personally responsible for their actions. Being a cop is one of the only jobs in the world where you are not responsible for your fuck-ups while you're on the job. I mean, you work in a factory, and you ruin $30,000 of product, you're going to lose your job. And now, imagine killing somebody. But they do nothing to them because they all work together. It's the state versus the people, just like all the paperwork says. State versus Freedom Inc., state versus, Greg Black or whatever it is. And it's just unreal, and it has to stop. And if it doesn't stop, it's all bad. I don't think it's going to stop. I don't think people have it in them. You have now all these truckers in the United States. They're going to go to DC, right, and park their trucks and fucking complain and shit. It's not. I don't think it's going to happen. I genuinely don't. Here's why. As soon as somebody brings up the fact that the last motherfuckers that went to DC to protest are all doing a bunch of prison time now, they all sit in solitary confinement for a year, and here's how it's all going to be tied together. Justin Trudeau. So the other day, Justin Trudeau puts out a press statement, stating that these insurrectionists, talking about the truckers in Canada, blah, 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 right? What do you think they're going to call truckers in the U.S. if they go parking their shit in the middle of the street in D.C.? Insurrectionists, right? What they do to the last ones, they called that shit. So it's going to boil down to, once again, how far are you willing to go for what you believe? Like, think about that. For what your principles are and what you believe, how far are you really willing to go? Are you willing to give up some time? Are you willing to give up some money? Are you willing to lose everything you own? Are you willing to go sit in a cage the rest of your life? Are you willing to die for what you believe? And for what's right, for that matter. Even if they go to DC, they park, it's not going to do anything, just for the same reason it's not going to do anything up there. Because, and I'm not saying it's all man, it's going to sound fucked up. They don't have the heart to go the distance. Just like in Canada. Well, they're going the distance. They're fucking sitting up there in the back of their trucks and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Like, I get it, man. I get it. More power to them. They're sacrificing their money and their times. And probably some dudes have quit their jobs to go sit up there. But as soon as they start making mass arrests, when the cops come through 1,000 deep and they're just picking motherfuckers off in their trucks, jerking them out of the driver's seat. If there's a convoy of trucks and there's 50 trucks in that convoy and they start at the front, how far back to the convoy do you think they're going to get before people are like, whoa, deuces, bro. I'm copping out later. Probably not too far. For the same reason, like I've said before, if you live on a street like I used to live on in Ohio, and the cops showed up and started kicking in doors and started at door 1, then went to door 2 and 3, you would have however many videos posted on YouTube, and every new set of videos would be -1 video because the door would be kicking in and nobody would fight back. Because and I'm not saying I don't like violence, man, but like everybody talking about all this peaceful shit has got to fucking go. Are you willing to be violent when somebody is violent against you for what is right? I mean, it's no different than, like, look what happens. Everything that's illegal for you to do, they have made legal for them to do. Everything from stealing your money to killing your ass. If you kill somebody, you steal somebody's money. Well, you steal somebody's money, and you will go to jail. You'll go to prison, depending on how much money it is. But they steal your money, and it's commonplace. It's doing our part, right? Doing our part and paying our taxes. No, I work, you work, you keep what you earn. And that's the way it should be, but it's not the way it is. And it's not the way it is because people aren't willing to go the distance for what they believe, for what's right. People value their lives more than they value their liberty or freedom or rights. And, when you start asking these questions, do you even believe in your God? Silas and I had a conversation last night. He asked me last night about somebody and if they would go to heaven. I said, Silas, you know what? Here's what I believe, and I could be completely wrong. God gives you gifts. Life is a gift. Your freedom is a gift. Health is a gift. Anybody who goes against that gift or supports those who do, I doubt very seriously that God's going to let them into heaven. He's like, well, what if they know they did wrong, but they know they did wrong? I said, well, I think in that case that God will forgive them and let them into heaven. But you have to think about, people that support the police as an example. It's a great example. It's the only example. They support somebody who violates every gift that God gave them. But you call yourself a Christian and you believe you're going to fucking heaven. So if you support Satan your whole life, is God still going to accept you in heaven? Especially when you don't recognize it and repent? I mean, come on now. I mean, like, I don't know God personally. I'm pretty damn sure, though, if I was praying to Satan every day of the week, and then, a rock fell out of the sky and hit me in the head and I died, I'm pretty sure that God's not going to accept me. Could be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong. I really don't think so, though. I mean, even if you go by the Bible, that wouldn't fly. Don't know. I wish I had the answers. And and I know that people are really supporting these truckers. I'm not saying don't support them. It's just it is a meaningless protest. It is more shit to distract you from doing the shit you need to get done, and that's what it is. Because it's not going to go anywhere. Because government has the ability to wait you out. They're sitting up in their offices right now in Parliament in Canada, eating their steaks and looking out the window and laughing at these fucking truckers in the street. I mean, you had cops going around stealing these dudes' fuel, and they were just videotaping. What if you had some aluminum thief going around jacking these trucks up, stealing the wheels off of you? Think the truckers would have just stood there and watched? No, but they've been brainwashed into believing that a government uniform makes shit okay. It determines whether something's okay or not. But they're not willing to go the distance, and they've already admitted that in Canada. They tried to get you to go up there, and then there was, let's all get peacefully arrested. They have more fucking power to you, buddy. There's no when someone commits violence against you, and kidnapping you is a violent act. You are justified in returning that violence. And I think that more than justified, I think that that makes you like a warrior of God. You hear people say that. If you are not willing to die or fight for what God gave you, what does your protest really mean? To me, it doesn't mean dick, because it doesn't mean anything to you because you're not willing to go the distance. But that's why you're not going to. That's why I said it earlier. I think you might have not heard me, but the BLM bitches have made their money. BLM's not a thing anymore. Not as a mass movement where they're going to be paying people to go burn shit to the ground. You're not going to see that anymore. It's over. Those bitches made their money. They're gone. Unless somebody steps up and takes their place, you might see it then. Other than that, you're not going to see it. I don't think anyway. And if he was going to, you'd be seeing it right now. And in this case, there's no reason why they shouldn't be burning shit to the ground right now, because it is fucking justified right now. And I'm not saying burning everybody's shit to the ground. You know, if you have a problem with the Joneses, take care of your problem with the Joneses. Just like if you got a problem with government, take care of your problem with government. Leave everybody else out of it. You know, the Freedom Convoy in Canada, they were bragging because they ran these dudes off. They had a Confederate flag and a Nazi flag, right? But they call themselves the Freedom Convoy. Who gives a fuck if they're over there with their flags on the street corner? Who cares? Because they don't want those people to be tied with these people because of the virtue signaling, because of how it looks to the country, right? Who gives a fuck how it looks to the country? Why does it matter? And that's all it's about. It's about how it looks to other people, and you know, it's just I think it's sickening, to be honest with you. I think it's sickening that people would waste their time and money and not be willing to go the distance. Just my opinion. Cockroaches, all of you fucking cockroaches. Defense centers are YouTube shilling telling how bad it is, but I'm going to make them move. Zombie farmer, ZF, red calling it ZF, HIF. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man. I mean, you have a cop calling people bootlickers, dude. It's fucking unreal. Like, and here's what's really unreal about it. Not only is he dumb, like, okay, we've all probably come to the conclusion that he doesn't have very many brain cells. The fucking people that follow him, though, is what blows my mind. You know, like, he's got videos with, you know, the one video I watched had like 12,000 views in 10 days or something. 1.7 thousand likes. There's 1,700, at least 1,700 people that are definitely as dumb as he is. And his shit, though, man, like, I'm gonna make a channel where U.S. flags a fucking cape, rail about Q, and tell you how Trump is still president and he's going to be back in the office, Oval Office, in March. Just wait, 4 weeks, he's going to be there, and I would have 1 million subscribers in no time. I'd have 100,000 subs in no time, because people are inherently stupid. Dude, humans are stupid. People are stupid. The person could be smart, but you know, it's just like when people say shit to you. I have people say to me all the time, well, what do you do? Well, motherfucker, go look for yourself what I've done. I don't hide it. I actually put it out there. Everybody knows my name. Everybody knows my home address. Like, in 3 minutes from right now where you're at, you can, if you didn't know my home address, you can get it. You can be on the phone with me. Matter of fact, why don't you just fucking email me and I'll call you? But people aren't willing to do that. They need to be told everything. And if they're not told, then they don't know, because they everything's become too easy, right? We can just find out whatever if we need to know how to fix something, we look it up on YouTube. If we need to know something, we go to YouTube. The problem with all that shit is normally there's a faster way. There's a better way. It's the wrong information. But they will still believe it because YouTube says so, because it takes too much time to go back and do the research yourself and find it out. You know, you mean you have Zombie Fairy that rails about the Constitution and law and order. Law and order. What is law and order? It's government rule executed on the people. Pretty much the same fucking thing that the men that founded this country shot the redcoats in the face over. It is the same thing. It's identical, matter of fact. But they won't see it like that because they've been brainwashed into believing that the police are somehow pro the people. Even Zombie Fairy, when he was talking about, you know, prohibited persons laws and shit like that, their excuse is, I can't help how it is. When he was asked, would he arrest somebody? Well, I can't help how it is right now, meaning that he would, because it's his job. He's going to do what he's told to do. And that's it. And the people who follow him, well, you know, they'll be the one to walk in the cattle cars, thinking that they're going, you know, that government's taking them to a nice, you know, resort, or they're going to eat steak dinners and snort cocaine off hookers' asses or something. I don't know. And we all know better. But they will convince themselves of that because people like, you know, the good cops that we never see, ever. maybe once. You know, and I know like cops have to do something good. There's so many of them. There has to be a cop at least once a day that does something good. But that doesn't justify a need for them because of the thousands of them that do wrong. And like just their existence violates your rights. You know, how much of you owned by somebody else makes you a slave? I mean, if you had to come to my house and I said, you got to come to my house and work 5% of your time. If you don't, I want to chain you up and put you in the basement. I mean, it's extortion. It's legalized extortion. And, you know, people confuse legality with constitutionality. And it's just stupidity at its finest. Like, you'll never hear him talk about any specifics of the Constitution. Listen, it's my Second Amendment rights. My Second Amendment rights. Even the Second Amendment right here gives me rights. It's just people, you know, have an ideal that they think they know what freedom is, and their ideal is what they have been told by the very government that they either work for and claim to be against, or say they're against. But it's you know, nobody cares until it's at their front door, and there's the truth for you. It's really over. I don't even know why I waste my time with it anymore, because nobody's going to do anything to stop it. Nobody's going to do anything to stop what's going to happen to us. You know, if you're like me and you have put out your feelings about what's going on for the world to see, and put a target the size of this truck on your back, it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time before the day comes that my card is drawn, and you know what I have said, or what I promoted, or whatever is going to be used as the justification to kill me. And then when that happens, those fucking idiots that follow douchebags like Zombie Fairy, who's now he's all operator shit now too. Fucking hilarious. It's hilarious. You would think like simple shit like that would show people like, hey, maybe I don't know everything. And I don't know everything, man. You know, there's a lot of people that act like I say it, they act like I say that I know everything. I've never said that I did, but I do know certain shit. And what I do know, I know because I have done the research. I have put in the footwork. I have put in the hours to find out the information I needed to know. And I didn't find it out by going to a YouTube channel and watching somebody else's shit and then just repeating what they say. I don't know. Maybe we'll get lucky and the day will never come and I'll die as an old man in a rocking chair out on my porch. Doubtful. Very doubtful. Because I know how they work. You know. So like there's a lot of like thievery that goes on in prison. People will kick your box, kick the lock off the box and steal your shit or whatever, right? I don't have a problem with you taking my shit from me. When I say this that ain't gonna sound right because of taxation. If it's just you, not your gang, just you, I have no problems with you coming to take my shit, but you're going to have to fight me. I do have a problem with you kicking my box when I go out on the yard and I'm not there too. You know, man up, come alone and take my shit from me. Make me give it to you, one-on-one. They won't do that. It's not how it works. They rule through the execution of force and violence. Until people wake up to the fact of what they are, it's game over. They can literally do anything they want today. All they have to do is keep the peasants just happy enough. Bread and circuses. I mean, look at all the shit going on today in this country. And most people will do is put a comment out. Let's go, Brandon. And you have people that go a little further and park their trucks somewhere. Mind you, when they do that, they're going to be blocking people's free movement to live their lives and make their money and feed their family. So how much of a freedom movement is it really? If your problem is with government, go solve your fucking problem with them at their place, at their home, whatever it is. But to park in the street and stop other people from living their lives, well, that's not freedom. I mean, we're being sold. It's a line of bullshit. It's what it is. And it's only going to last until people really start having to make sacrifices. There's not a lot of people in the world. And maybe I'm not one of these people either. Or maybe I am one of these people. Who, if they were given the choice to live or die right now, would choose that. I mean, but there's just not a lot of people that would do it for any reason. I mean, we live a life today that, like, we like this country especially, it's a nation of Christians. Most people will say that they're Christian. Everybody does everything they can to keep from having to meet their God. Christianity is the only religion that happens. Just like the Afghans, the 20-year war, the forever war, right? They won that because they're not afraid to meet their God. They live their lives to be martyrs. Like they for real do that. I mean, like there's some interviews out there of what was it, Sheikh Khalid Mahmoud? I don't know, one of them Sheikh, whatever the hell his name is. One of the ISIS dudes, right? Or Al Qaeda or whatever he was. And in the interview, multiple times, God willing, I'll be a martyr. I mean, that's what he said. They legit do that. That's how they, jump into vans and go driving into a crowd of people and blow themselves up. They are born, bred, raised, believe in their God. They truly believe in their God. And until really that happens in this country, until people truly believe in God, it's never going to change because they're not going to be willing to go the distance for what God gave them. And that's really what it boils down to. In all honesty, that's what it really is. It's more of people saying they believe in something, and then just not believing it. Yeah, they believe it in their own mind. It's like me telling you I drive a Ferrari. You know damn well I drive an F-250. This is a Ferrari, bro. It's a Ferrari. Why? Because I said so. Fuck out of here. Just like we're now supposed to call Michaels Michelle's and let them go piss in the bathroom with their 4-year-old daughters sitting next to them with the little short stalls or some shit, peeking over at it. No. But because they say they're a dude, we got to go with it, or else. We are ruled by the or else's. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. That's how we're ruled. There will be a lot of people that will say that I'm wrong by saying that. We're a nation of laws. Law and order. Law and order in the Constitution. Government laws. Government rule. Government order. How they say in the Constitution. Fucking idiot. Somebody texted me last night. They're like, you know what? I hope that you don't ever get pulled over by that dude. Because I drive right through his counties. I said, shit. I'd do fucking backflips that fat son of a bitch trying to pull me over. It'd be worth going for. I don't know, guys. I got to jump off here. I got shit to do. I got a job at 1 o'clock. I got to go do an electrical job at 1. Got a bid I got to give today, and I got to get all this shit out, the rest of this shit out of my house. We're emptying everything out of the house, and like it's hard, man. It's hard. So it's hard. we've moved this shit around so much. Like, I'm so sick of fucking moving shit. So is Christy too, man. So, well, Silas, he'll help it. He's got to be sick of it too. I mean, we've moved this shit. 1, 2. Now it's going to be the 3rd time. That ain't right. We've already moved at least 3 times. From the house to the storage unit. From the storage unit here. Okay, from the house. Here's why how we moved 3 times. From the house to the truck to the storage unit, from the storage unit to the truck, from the truck to in here. Now I have to move it all from in here up there. Well, what's left of it anyway? Because it's all got to come out because we're about to tear all these floors out and it's going to make a mess. And this shit needs to be, all this shit's got to be out of here, or else we're going to be moving more from one spot in the house to the other spot in the house. So I want to get this over with, but it's hard to do. Anyway, I got to go, guys. I got shit to do. You guys have a good day and stay safe. And, like, think about what you really believe. That's what people need to start doing. You need to quit lying to yourself. Know your position, right? You're a bitch. Just raise your hand, say you're a bitch. I will then excuse you for being a bitch, and you just get the fuck out of the way. But you say you believe in God. You say you're a Christian. Prove it. Well, I don't have to prove nothing to you. Don't prove it to me. Prove it to yourself. If you're not willing to die and meet the God for the gifts he gave you, you'll never be free.